Did you think this episode was low-key good?
It's the first thing I thought of.
Right when it ended, I was like, wow, that was low-key good. What's up, everybody? Welcome to our very first Loki review.
Now, hang on just a minute.
Episode 1, Glorious Purpose. I already think the show's low-key pretty good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was really fun. It's cool that, like, a lot of it was just sitting and talking.
Yeah.
But it was still really interesting.
And, like, reminiscing almost.
Yeah, like apparently in the TVA you could just watch the Marvel movies. That's just what they do. They just go up there. They were doing a whole podcast like we were rewatching them all. But first I got here. So what do you think about Owen Wilson, Mobius?
I really liked him. I thought he was cool.
Yeah, I don't think he said wow enough though.
Wow. Wow.
I need a few more wows.
No, he was good. Like, I was kind of wondering if I was going to like him, and he was great. I really liked him.
But I really like how it literally just opened with like a previously on Marvel, with it showing the whole like thing from Endgame, the whole scene.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking, I wonder if like Paul Rudd knows he's in Loki.
Yeah, that was like as technically now like Captain America's in Loki, Iron Man's in Loki.
Yeah,
like all of them. It did seem, I couldn't tell, but it seemed like some of it went on a beat longer than they did in Endgame. Like it seemed like it was a little longer, don't you think, or no?
I don't know, but like the elevator part definitely wasn't in there, right?
Well, it was, but you saw that from farther away in Endgame, I'm pretty sure, and like you see Ant-Man and Iron Man like looking at them go to the elevator.
Yeah, but I mean, like when it zoomed in on Loki, like that part was new.
It seemed like either some of it was new or they just shot a lot of this, didn't know where they were gonna cut to in Endgame, so then they were able to use all of it, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
But it was kind of cool. Like I was like, oh, you could almost get away with saying that was new footage.
Yeah, almost.
But he landed in the Mongolian desert, and it does look like almost shot for shot, except it's just like flipped of how Iron Man landed.
I didn't really catch that, but yeah, now that you say that, yeah.
But that was kind of cool. And then you get to see the timekeepers show up, and I guess, are they the timekeepers or are the big dudes the timekeepers?
I think the big dudes are the timekeepers.
So they're just the TVA.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of TVA police officers.
They have names because like they said that they were getting taken care of, but
they're like getting jerked off or something, like under the table.
No, taken care of.
Were they low key getting taken care of? You know what I'm saying?
You can't do this every time.
This is gonna be all 6 episodes of this, pal.
What? There's only 6 episodes?
I believe so.
Jesus.
Unless IMDb's lying. But so they show up and like you get to see them put the little time lamp, whatever it is, on the floor, and it was gonna undo everything he did there.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get to see it, so I wonder if we're gonna see eventually like a really big scene of time being undone.
Hopefully, because it was 3 times.
Yeah, and it was like the 3rd time Loki stopped it. Spoilers.
Yeah. We think.
Oh, but also there, because I get to see, it was really cool. Hope we get some more like stuff like this. When that chick, she fucking hits him with the edge of I don't know what it is. It was like a time-stopping baton, and it just slows him down. And she's like, "You're feeling all the pain at once now." And she's walking normal, but he's like falling over in slow motion the whole time.
It was kind of gross, to be honest.
I thought it was pretty cool. It kind of reminded me, and this is only thing I think that we would like think of, is in like Jackass when they do the slow motion gun and they get like hit with a dildo in the face and their face is all wiggly.
I can see that. Yeah, totally. That would be the first thing you think of, is a dildo hitting someone in the face.
Well, Loki, that's what I thought of.
That's not Loki at all.
So we got I thought this was pretty cool and very interesting. I think you could do almost a whole video on this, the little timekeeper's origin video.
Oh, yeah.
When he shows up there. So apparently there was a multiverse war in this universe at some point. And then these guys just showed up and were like, nah. Which seems a little sketchy to me. Nah, we're just going to make one timeline and stick to this way exactly.
Oh, you think they're bad guys?
Maybe. But do you think they're like, it's like a scammy kind of thing? Or like, if it's going to be revealed that it's run by Loki, another Loki or something? Because I bet there's going to be like 100 Lokis in their show. I bet it's just going to be nonstop Lokis showing up.
You think there's going to be a lot of Lokis?
Yeah, low-key, I think there'll be a lot of Lokis. But do you think something with them's going to be off, or do you think it's just going to be like, no, this is just the TVA and there's these gods that control the timeline?
I took it as that's what it was.
Simple Jack over there.
Yeah, it could be.
What it reminded me of is...
Did you just call me a character from...
But I was watching an episode of Rick and Morty recently, and there's like these stones they get, and like it shows them like depending on which way you do or whatever you do, how you're gonna die. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of avoid death with it and stuff like that. But their timekeeping thing reminded me of that. They're like, oh no, let's stick to this timeline because I'm sure this one benefits them the most.
Oh, see, I thought they were better than the timeline, so like I figured that they're just live forever.
Maybe it could be that too, but to me it felt a little sketchy with them. And they're like, oh, because a lot of it's not like any of these people are like time traveling on like purpose. Like he said in this thing, the Avengers fucked it all up. I can get it for you. They're the ones that time traveled and threw me the Tesseract. So like it was an accident that he did. So it seems like a lot of accidents that changed the timeline that should just be like a thing that happens.
I agree with that to a point, but he was like the bad guy in cuffs and disappeared and stole stuff.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't. But even in their little thing, like, oh, this guy just straight off, like this person, she decided to take the bus instead of going on an airplane, and now
that was a little vague.
So I feel like with that, it could potentially lead to them being.
Actually, it was Hulk's fault.
I guess you're no more stairs.
He's from fucking Ritalin or something.
Ritalin?
I don't know.
Does that help you with your anger?
Well, you calm down.
Oh. So we got a lot of this stuff. I wrote down the Phil Coulson thing first because it surprised me, but then we got cameos from everybody. But we got he went into the little room with Owen Wilson, and Owen Wilson was like, "Low-key, wow, look at this video."
You gotta stop that.
But he basically is like, hey, you want to watch every Marvel movie? Here you go. And he sees him kill.
Just the ones with Loki in it.
Well, yeah, those are the ones that matter for him.
They didn't watch Ant-Man.
You don't know that. That could have been a deleted scene. He's like, I want to see this Paul Rudd feller. But he shows him killing Phil Coulson, and then eventually it leads to, we get like a little scene that we haven't seen before. Loki was dared by Thor to be D.B. Cooper.
That was my favorite part.
I would watch an entire episode of Chris Hemsworth being like, Loki, you have to go do this, and then like he sends him off to like down to Earth and gets on the plane, gets the money and all this shit. I'd watch a whole episode of that.
Well, it was funny because
then Heimdall we get is not really a cameo by him, but he does the little thing to set him up.
Well, so it shows him on a plane and it looks like he's older. And he's got like the D.B. Cooper haircut, I guess.
Yeah, he's the D.B. Cooper look.
He looked
especially
like him.
Even when he puts on the glasses, it's like, that's 100% him.
Yeah. So, and then he's flirting with the lady, and she's going for it, and I was like, oh, where's this going? Like, I didn't get it.
Oh, really? Because I already knew from the trailer, I was like, oh, this is the D.B. Cooper part.
No, I had no idea. So then he's like, oh, man, I got a bomb. You might want to read my note.
He's like, you might want to read the note. I have a bomb.
Yeah, she thought he was giving him his phone number.
Yeah.
So then she reads it, and then I was like, oh, my God, he's D.B. Cooper? That's hilarious. And then when he gets sucked out of the plane, or gets sucked out of the, what's it called? The fucking...
He jumps out of the back of the plane? I don't know.
Yeah, but it sucks him back up to Asgard.
Oh,
the Bifrost.
Yeah, he does the Bifrost, yeah.
So, but that makes all the money go away, and that's how later on they find the money. Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, it even makes sense that way.
That might have been, Marvel might have found out that's what happened.
Oh, you think so? You think that's really what happened?
I think they figured it out.
I mean, it's as good as any of those other stories.
That's true. I'd rather watch a documentary on that than that boring one that we watched.
Yeah.
So then Loki sees Thor: The Dark World and Ragnarok basically just to get like, hey,
kind of fast forwarded through a lot of it.
Yeah, he's like, okay, so this is you from 2012. You would have lived these two movies. Oh, and by the way, both your parents died in them.
Yeah.
And your mom, which I've never thought about this part before.
I didn't think about that either.
We did a whole podcast on the fucking movie with Hess. No one brought it up. He got his mom killed.
Yeah.
Never thought about that.
I didn't think about that either.
Isn't it kind of funny how these movies just keep going back to...
Yeah.
Throw the Dark World. They're like, no, this is important, fucker. Watch this again.
Yeah, watch him kill his mom, basically.
Yeah. And then, he sees Anthony Hopkins die.
That's when he went back to it, right?
Yeah.
By himself.
A bunch of shit happens and he goes back there. I just put those two together since
there's
two movies.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really cool and like a unique way of like, because like now he kind of almost is the character from Ragnarok in a way, because he's seen everything that happens and he knows his parents are dead and he sees he's had a relationship with Thor and all this stuff kind of.
Yeah.
So like he's not going to be exactly like how when he died. He even actually saw himself die, which was really cool. We get a Thanos cameo.
Yeah.
So like he knows all of that, so he might be as close as possible to being Loki we knew.
He didn't seem getting killed by Thanos very well.
Oh yeah, that seemed to really upset him.
Yeah.
So Loki ends up getting the Tesseract. He gets it from, is it Casey? Is that his name?
Yeah.
But so Loki gets to him, threatens to like cut him like a fish or something, and he's like, God. What's a fish? And he's like, what? That was such a good part.
Did you hear me laughing out there? I was like LOLing.
Loki, you were LOLing?
It wasn't Loki at all.
Oh. But I thought that was really funny, especially because Loki's there and he's like, all these Infinity Stones? And he's like, oh yeah, we use those as piperids. Those don't matter here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool how like the thing that led 23 movies and have been so important don't even matter.
They're in a desk drawer.
Yeah. It's really cool. I like how they were all different shapes and sizes too.
Yeah, he was literally holding the time stone.
Which, you think he'd maybe pocket a couple of those and think he could just, once he gets out of this room shit, like out of this area.
Maybe he did.
I guess that's true. I guess I saw too. I'm going to try to slow it down in the video. If I fuck it up, you don't see this, just take my word for it.
Okay.
When he like hugs Owen Wilson, you see him like reach into his pocket and grab the remote or whatever. Wherever he grabs it. Like I saw a brief clip of it on TikTok and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's clever.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean, makes sense.
One of my favorite scenes of the episode is just because it was just cracking me up when he gets the little time, whatever I thought of it as like the A and B thing you can do on like a DVD player to keep repeating the scene.
Yeah.
They had one of those, but as a necklace for Loki.
Oh yeah.
When he put it on the girl,
and just kept fucking with it,
and she's like, "Stop it, please, stop it." Just kept sending her back and forth. That was really good.
That was funny. I liked it too when Owen Wilson did it to him, and he's like, "Sorry, it controls you even up the chair."
Yeah, because he already threw the chair or whatever.
Yeah.
I did like too when Loki stood up to like give a speech, and he goes and sends him back. And he was like, "I was just standing for dramatic effect." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, do it again." He's like, "No, it doesn't matter now."
And then he did it anyway.
Yeah. But then lastly,
they were really good together. Just saying.
Oh yeah, they were really really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loki is the villain. And
That's weird, isn't it?
I want to ask you a question about this because I'm going to pull up the IMDb so I can name the actors. But there's two actors in this. One that I remember way back in the day was cast, and they said as a different version of Loki, and I haven't heard anybody talk about that. But Richard E. Grant, I believe, when he was cast, was supposed to be an older Loki, is what they said.
Oh, I could totally see that.
So I'm wondering if he's the villain.
He's the guy from. He's in Hudson Hawk, right?
I believe so. But then there's a girl, and I'm not sure which one she is. So I'm not going to be able... I'll try to... She's from the trailer, I believe. There's a part, that everyone thought it was Black Widow, him sitting with her. So people think that's a female Loki as well. So that's... I think there'll be multiple Lokis, but I was going to ask you, do you think with the villain being Loki and he's in a hood, clearly it's not like Luke Skywalker or something like Mandalorian.
You don't know that.
Guess it could be. But do you think it's going to be other actors that could be playing Loki, or do you think this will be... Any Loki we see will be Tom Hiddleston?
I thought it would be Tom Hiddleston, but like I could totally see...
Because like it's kind of multiversey the way this is going.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I never really thought of that, but I could totally see that.
I also like too, which they said this. It's not Mephisto. Everybody thinks connected to like WandaVision shit again.
Bro.
When that little kid like points to the devil, I liked how that was like it's clearly Loki because it was just the horns that the kid was talking about, and it's like wearing green and the horns, so like he seems very devilish. But I like that they were pointing at that, and you're like, oh, what's the villain gonna be? And then once you see it's Loki, you just think back to that, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. It was just a horny Loki.
Well,
I didn't mean it like that.
He's like awesome powers.
He was like jerking off in front of the
Yeah,
kids. Like,
baby.
That's why he gave him that gum.
It's weird. So he's just like bringing shit to he's just trying to fuck up the timeline, basically.
Maybe he's got a purpose. I don't know.
To fuck up the timeline.
But maybe he...
Like, why else would you leave shit from the future?
Maybe he needs bigger horns.
Like, when they first showed the devil thing, I was like, oh, all right, they're after some creepy fucking weird guy. But in the end, Owen Wilson was like, we're chasing you. And he's like, I beg your pardon? But I was like, oh, so he knew the whole time. Like, so...
Yeah, and that's why I think the whole time he's interrogating him, being like, so do you like killing people?
Right. It makes more sense.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
One thing I really liked about that I saw from the creators of the show, and like when they were writing it, they were aware, like, even though they filmed this and shit before WandaVision and all that, they knew that people were going to watch an episode, speculate for a week, watch another episode, and like break it down constantly every day. And they said they made it so that way these are able to be broken down every week and last you a week till the next episode to be able to talk about.
Oh, that's cool. I mean...
And I was like, oh, I appreciate that. I like that. Because like, even, like, we love Falcon and Winter Soldier, but there was like 1 or 2 episodes at the end and we're like, do we even do a video on this?
Yeah.
Like, not much happened.
They're going to fight.
They shot a bad guy and punched somebody.
Yeah. Well, in WandaVision, it took me an episode or 2 to get into it. This didn't. It's like as soon as fucking he like landed in the desert, I go, what the fuck?
As soon as it opened up Endgame, I was like, oh, yeah. Cool, I'm in. I'm just watch Endgame again. Just put the Blu-ray back in the player.
Loki, I'm in.
Loki, I'm in, baby.
Jesus.
But then lastly, I want to end with a quote from Kevin Feige that I found pretty interesting. Someone asked, what does Loki matter for the MCU? They're like, Loki, does this show even matter?
Jesus.
He said, it's tremendously important. It perhaps will have more impact on the MCU than any of the shows thus far, he told Empire Magazine. What everybody thought about WandaVision was sort of true, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was sort of true. It's even more true with Loki.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Which, I mean, him saying that, so like the WandaVision, he said kind of setting up her to be stuff in Doctor Strange. We knew Falcon and the Winter Soldier was kind of setting up Captain America, and it ended up doing that. But for this, I had no expectations except it's just Loki fucking up the timeline and kind of fixing things.
Yeah. Well, I took WandaVision and I almost said Captain America.
I mean, it is. It changes
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Almost as like a mid movie. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, there's no movies in between, but we're gonna show you what they're doing in between. You
Yeah,
know what
I mean, that's basically what they were.
Yeah, but if this has more to it, then great.
I mean, supposedly, I've seen some things that this is the one that they're teetering on doing season 2 or more, or what they're going to do with, you know?
Right.
So the other ones were built like, we're doing this, and then they go to these movies.
I mean, either way, as long as they're good, I don't really care.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed the episode. I'm excited. I like that they come out on Wednesdays. I think that's kind of fun and different, too.
Yeah. I didn't really think about it.
It makes it easier with the other videos we do as well, because Jesus Christ. But do you have any last things you low-key want to say about Loki?
Nothing low-key that I want to say about Loki.
Okay.
No, I mean, I didn't know he was the bad guy, too.
I assumed there'd be more than one Loki. I didn't kind of know he'd be the bad guy. But once it happened, I was like, oh, okay, because people did speculate that early on. I kind of forgot about that. So I was like, oh, cool, though. I like a Loki bad guy and a Loki good guy.
But, I mean, I was surprised as he was, where he's like, beg your pardon?
I beg your pardon?
You said that at the same time as him out there, actually. I heard you. You're like, I beg your pardon, sir.
I don't talk like that.
All the time.
But I was also, all right, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. I kind of hope it is a different actor. I think that'll be fun, too.
Yeah, that would be.
And even if we get to see, like, a female Loki as well, just seeing multiple
and even
versions.
if it's just, like, one or two, but then, like, like you said, if there's a bunch of them, then, like, he's, like, some of them or whatever.
Yeah, because I've even seen Kevin Feige say that the fun part about doing multiverse and time travel shows is seeing other versions of these characters.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it sounds like we're going to see other versions of not just Loki as well, which will be interesting who we see, like, who they're... Because it sounded like they were whatever they were allowed to grab at, they wanted to throw in the show. But yeah, that should be really cool if we do get like who would be someone that you'd want to see that you think is doable for the show? Not because obviously it'd be Iron Man and Captain America and shit like that. But who's someone that you think that they could actually?
Well, the first person I thought of was Thor, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
That would be neat.
But I mean, even like I don't know, someone like Heimdall would just be like a different. You know what I mean? Just anyone that's like.
Do you think we could, because his parents died, do you think you could see, like, he'll get a last scene with, like, Anthony Hopkins or his mom again?
No.
You don't think they're done?
I don't think they're doing a Disney Plus show. Either one of them.
But all right, are we done here, pal? Are we low-key done here?
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back next week. I don't know when this video will come out, so I can't promise you we'll be back the same exact time next week. That's just unlikely, and I don't want to lie to you.
Wow. I think you said way too much.
But thanks for watching, or I guess mostly listening, and we'll catch you guys next week for another episode of Low Key Loki.